Before we pray this morning, I want to ask you something that may change how you see your entire life. What if being busy isn't the same as moving forward? What if the exhaustion you feel isn't coming from lack of effort, but from effort that is disconnected from alignment? What if you've been working hard, trying hard, pushing hard, planning hard, yet still feeling strangely unfulfilled? Not because you're lazy, not because you're incapable, not because you're failing, but because movement without guidance eventually becomes wandering, and wandering is exhausting. This morning, we are going to explore a powerful truth. Not every open door is your door. Not every opportunity is your assignment. Not every movement is progress, because movement without guidance leads nowhere, and alignment changes everything. One of the strangest experiences in life is accomplishing things and still feeling empty. You complete tasks, you stay productive, you remain responsible, you continue moving, yet fulfillment feels distant. This confuses many people, because society teaches us that accomplishment automatically creates satisfaction. But fulfillment is not created by motion alone. Fulfillment comes when your actions and your spirit begin working together. Imagine rowing a boat. One oar represents effort, the other represents alignment. If only one oar moves, the boat spins in circles. You may be working extremely hard, yet without alignment, progress feels frustratingly limited. This explains why some people feel drained despite being productive. They are spending energy without spiritual direction. Their calendars are full, their schedules are packed. Their responsibilities are endless, yet their spirit feels disconnected. And when the spirit becomes disconnected, achievement alone rarely satisfies. Because the soul longs for more than activity. It longs for meaning, purpose, connection, direction, alignment. Many people assume movement automatically means progress. It doesn't. Motion simply means something is happening. Progress means something meaningful is happening. A rocking chair moves constantly, yet it never changes location. Many lives operate this way. Constant activity, constant movement, constant effort, yet very little transformation. Not because people are unwilling, because they have confused activity with advancement. This is why reflection is important. Without reflection, people become trapped inside momentum. They continue doing things because they've always done them. Continue pursuing goals because they started pursuing them years ago. Continue walking paths simply because they are familiar. But occasionally we must pause and ask, why am I doing this? Where is this leading? Does this align with who I am becoming? Is this feeding my spirit or merely occupying my time? These questions are uncomfortable, but they are necessary because alignment requires awareness. And awareness often begins with honest self-examination. One reason alignment is difficult is because ambition tends to be loud. Ambition wants more. More success, more recognition, more achievement, more validation, more accomplishment. And there is nothing inherently wrong with ambition. But ambition without wisdom becomes dangerous, because ambition can convince you that bigger always means better. Faster always means better. More always means better. Yet spiritual wisdom often speaks differently. It asks, what is yours to carry? What is yours to release? What truly matters? What belongs in this season? What no longer belongs? Obedience often feels quieter than ambition. It does not always demand expansion. Sometimes it asks for simplification. Sometimes it asks for patience. Sometimes it asks for restraint. Sometimes it asks for trust. And because these instructions lack dramatic excitement, many people overlook them. Yet some of the most transformative moments in life come from obeying quiet wisdom rather than chasing loud ambition. Have you ever felt torn between what you are doing and what you feel? Torn between responsibility and purpose? Torn between expectations and conviction? Torn between opportunity and peace? That tension is often a signal worth paying attention to, because inner conflict frequently appears when actions and spirit stop working together. The mind says one thing, the spirit says another. The world pushes one direction, inner wisdom pulls another, and the resulting tension becomes exhausting. Many people try to solve this tension by working harder. Yet harder work does not automatically create alignment. Sometimes alignment requires listening. Listening requires stillness, and stillness requires courage, because when life becomes quiet, truth becomes harder to ignore. Sometimes we already know what needs adjustment. We simply fear what changing it might require. The longer misalignment continues, the more expensive it becomes, not always financially, emotionally, spiritually, mentally. You begin feeling disconnected from your own life. Success feels hollow, progress feels forced, motivation becomes inconsistent, peace becomes difficult to access, and eventually, what once felt exciting begins feeling heavy, not because the work itself is wrong, but because something deeper is asking for attention. Alignment is not a luxury, it is a necessity. Because a life disconnected from inner truth eventually becomes exhausting to sustain. The soul can carry many burdens, but it struggles to carry burdens that do not belong to it, which is why alignment is not merely about productivity. It is about integrity, living in a way where actions, values, purpose, and spirit move together. And when that happens, something remarkable occurs. Effort begins feeling meaningful. Direction becomes clearer, peace becomes more accessible, and movement finally starts leading somewhere. One of the most common misunderstandings about growth is believing that transformation happens through occasional bursts of effort. People become inspired, motivated, excited, determined. For a few days, perhaps even a few weeks, they operate at an extraordinary level. Then life happens. Energy fades, challenges appear, distractions emerge, and momentum disappears. This cycle repeats again and again. The problem isn't lack of desire. The problem is dependence on intensity. Intensity feels powerful. Consistency creates power. There is a difference. Intensity creates moments. Consistency creates character. Intensity can produce temporary results. Consistency produces lasting transformation. Spiritually, this truth is incredibly important because alignment is not proven by what you do occasionally. It is revealed by what you do repeatedly. Anyone can make a powerful decision. Anyone can have a meaningful breakthrough. Anyone can experience a moment of inspiration. But alignment is demonstrated through daily obedience. The small choices, the unseen choices, the choices nobody applauds, the choices that slowly shape identity. Many people spend their lives reacting to circumstances, opinions, expectations, urgency, and pressure, and eventually they mistake reaction for decision-making. But reactions and decisions are not the same thing. A reaction happens automatically. A response happens intentionally. Alignment creates space between the two. When you are spiritually aligned, you no longer feel compelled to respond to everything immediately. You become more discerning, more thoughtful, more intentional. You stop allowing every emotion to dictate your behavior, every criticism to define your worth, every opportunity to demand your attention, every fear to control your choices. This is one of the greatest gifts of alignment. It restores inner authority. You begin acting from conviction rather than pressure. Misalignment rarely announces itself dramatically. It usually arrives quietly, gradually, almost unnoticed. At first, it feels like mild restlessness, a subtle sense that something isn't quite right, a persistent feeling that despite your efforts, something feels disconnected. Many people ignore these signals. They tell themselves they're simply tired, busy, overwhelmed, stressed, and sometimes that is true, but sometimes something deeper is happening. Misalignment often leaves clues. You begin feeling drained by things that once energized you. You lose enthusiasm for work that once inspired you. You find yourself constantly seeking distraction. You become increasingly dependent on external validation. You achieve goals but feel strangely empty afterward. You remain productive but feel disconnected from purpose. These signs do not necessarily mean you are on the wrong path, but they do invite reflection, because your spirit often whispers long before it shouts, and wisdom listens while the voice is still quiet. One reason many people struggle with alignment is because alignment demands honesty. Not honesty with other people, honesty with yourself, and self-honesty can be surprisingly difficult. Because sometimes we become attached to identities, attached to expectations, attached to paths we have invested years pursuing, attached to versions of ourselves that no longer fit. Honesty asks uncomfortable questions. Am I pursuing this because it matters to me, or because I need approval? Am I continuing this because it aligns with my purpose, or because I fear change? Am I staying here because I feel called, or because I feel comfortable? These questions can be unsettling, yet they are essential, because alignment cannot exist without truth, and truth requires courage. Not the courage to impress others, the courage to face yourself, the courage to acknowledge what you've been avoiding, the courage to admit when adjustment is necessary, the courage to release what no longer belongs. This is one of the most overlooked spiritual principles. Many people expect results first, then peace, but often peace comes first. Results come later. When your actions align with deeper wisdom, something begins to settle within you. Not because every problem disappears, not because every answer arrives, but because your spirit recognizes alignment, and alignment creates peace, a quiet confidence, a steady assurance, a sense that you are moving in harmony with something greater than fear. This peace is valuable because results are not always immediate. Growth takes time, seeds take time, transformation takes time, character takes time, purpose unfolds gradually. Without peace, Many people abandon the process before the results appear. But peace gives endurance. Peace gives patience. Peace gives stability. Peace allows you to continue moving even when visible evidence has not yet arrived. And often that peace becomes confirmation that you are walking the right path. Most people are waiting for a life-changing moment, a breakthrough, a revelation, a dramatic turning point. Yet many lives are transformed through something much quieter. Small daily obedience, the decision to remain faithful today, the decision to act with integrity today, the decision to listen today, the decision to trust today, the decision to show up today. These choices seem insignificant until you multiply them across months, across years, across a lifetime. Then their power becomes undeniable. A tree does not become strong overnight. It becomes strong through countless days of unseen growth. Perhaps the answer isn't doing more. Perhaps the answer is aligning better. Many people are searching for additional opportunities, additional goals, additional responsibilities, additional commitments. Yet the issue may not be lack of activity. The issue may be lack of alignment. More movement does not always create more progress. Sometimes it creates more confusion, more exhaustion, more distraction. Many people focus on changing outcomes. Fewer people focus on changing alignment. Yet alignment is often where the greatest transformation begins, because your future is not built merely by what you achieve. It is built by who you become while pursuing it. A person can gain success and lose peace, gain recognition and lose authenticity, gain opportunities and lose direction. From the outside, everything appears impressive, yet internally something feels fractured. This is why alignment matters. Alignment protects you from becoming successful in the wrong direction. Think about that for a moment. How many people spend years chasing goals only to discover those goals never brought the fulfillment they imagined? How many people climb mountains they never truly wanted to climb? How many people pursue lives that look admirable to others but feel disconnected from their own spirit? The tragedy is not failure. The tragedy is reaching a destination and realizing it was never yours. Alignment protects against that. When your actions are aligned with wisdom, purpose, conviction, and spiritual guidance, the journey itself becomes meaningful. Not because every day feels easy, because every day feels connected to something deeper than temporary achievement. One reason people struggle with obedience is because they want complete visibility. They want the entire map, the entire plan, the entire explanation, the entire outcome before they move. But life rarely works that way. Spiritual guidance is often progressive. Not because wisdom is withholding information, because growth requires trust. Imagine being given every detail of your future at once. Every challenge, every delay, every lesson, every unexpected turn. Most people would become overwhelmed. So guidance often arrives in portions. One step, then another. One lesson, then another. One insight, then another. This requires patience because the mind craves certainty, but the spirit develops through trust. Trust is strengthened every time you move forward without having every answer. Every time you obey a conviction before seeing results. Every time you remain faithful despite uncertainty. And eventually, you discover something remarkable. The path becomes clearer as you walk. Not because uncertainty disappears, but because trust grows. Many people spend years trying to control every outcome, every possibility, every risk, every variable, every future scenario. And while wisdom requires preparation, excessive control often creates anxiety, because control attempts to manage what was never fully ours to manage. There is a difference between responsibility and control. Responsibility asks, "What is mine to do?" Control asks, "How do I guarantee the outcome?" One produces peace. The other often produces exhaustion. Alignment requires surrender, not passive surrender, not careless surrender, intentional surrender. The willingness to do your part while releasing what belongs beyond your control. There is a beautiful shift that happens when alignment begins. The constant internal struggle starts quieting down. Decisions become clearer. Motivation becomes steadier. Discipline becomes more sustainable. Purpose becomes more visible. You stop feeling as though you're fighting yourself, because your actions and your spirit are finally moving in the same direction. This doesn't mean life becomes perfect. Challenges remain, obstacles remain, uncertainty remains, but something important changes. Resistance decreases. You stop wasting energy pulling against your own convictions. You stop living divided. You stop saying one thing while pursuing another. You stop wanting peace while choosing chaos. You stop wanting growth while avoiding change. Alignment creates coherence, and coherence creates strength. There is tremendous power in becoming internally unified. Because a divided person spends enormous energy battling themselves. An aligned person channels that energy toward purposeful living. Alignment is not a destination. It is a practice, a daily practice, a moment-by-moment practice, because life constantly presents distractions, new pressures, new fears, new opportunities, new influences, and not all of them deserve your attention. Which means alignment must be renewed repeatedly. Every morning you have an opportunity to ask, what truly matters today? What deserves my energy? What deserves my focus? What aligns with my values? What aligns with my purpose? What aligns with the person I'm becoming? These questions seem simple, yet they are transformative, because over time, daily realignment prevents major drift. Just as a ship adjusts its course throughout a voyage, a spiritually aligned life requires continual adjustment. Not because you're failing, because you're growing, and growth requires awareness. Many people are waiting for a breakthrough, yet often the breakthrough is hidden inside today's decision. Not tomorrow's, not next year's, today's. The choice to listen, the choice to obey, the choice to pause, the choice to trust, the choice to simplify, the choice to remain faithful, the choice to align. Life is rarely transformed through one dramatic moment. More often, it is transformed through countless aligned moments. Moments that appear small, ordinary, unremarkable. Yet together they create extraordinary outcomes. This is how character develops. This is how peace develops. This is how wisdom develops. This is how purpose unfolds, one aligned choice at a time. Heavenly Father, as this new day begins, I come before you with gratitude. Thank you for the gift of life. Thank you for another morning. Thank you for your patience, your guidance, and your presence that remains constant, even when my thoughts become scattered. Today I ask for alignment, not merely success, not merely achievement, not merely productivity. I ask for alignment. Help my actions reflect the wisdom you are placing within my spirit. Help my decisions reflect truth rather than impulse. Help my priorities reflect purpose rather than pressure. Father, there are times when I become distracted by urgency, times when I confuse activity with progress, times when I pursue things simply because they are available rather than because they are meaningful. Bring clarity where confusion exists. Bring order where distraction exists. Bring focus where my attention has become divided. Lord, teach me to recognize the difference between movement and direction. Teach me to recognize the difference between opportunity and assignment. Teach me to recognize the difference between ambition and obedience. Help me become sensitive to your guidance, sensitive to wisdom, sensitive to conviction, sensitive to the quiet whispers that often get drowned out by noise. Father, strengthen my discipline, not the discipline that comes from fear, but the discipline that comes from purpose. Help me remain faithful in small things, faithful when nobody notices, faithful when progress feels slow, faithful when results are not immediate, faithful when the path ahead remains unclear. Give me consistency, the kind that endures beyond motivation, the kind that remains steady through changing emotions, the kind that continues moving forward regardless of circumstances. Lord, protect me from building a life that looks successful but feels disconnected from truth. Protect me from pursuing things that steal my peace. Protect me from chasing validation at the expense of authenticity. Protect me from allowing external expectations to become more important than inner conviction. Teach me to trust your timing. Teach me to trust your process. Teach me to trust your wisdom even when I do not fully understand what lies ahead. When I become impatient, give me patience. When I become distracted, give me focus. When I become uncertain, give me peace. When I become fearful, give me courage. And when I become discouraged, remind me that alignment often produces fruit long before it becomes visible. Father, bless every person listening to this prayer. For those feeling lost, bring direction. For those feeling overwhelmed, bring clarity. For those feeling divided, bring unity. For those feeling weary, bring renewal. For those seeking purpose, bring understanding. May we become people whose actions reflect our deepest values, people whose choices reflect wisdom, people whose lives reflect integrity, people who walk in alignment with truth. May our efforts be guided. May our decisions be intentional. May our hearts remain teachable. May our spirits remain sensitive. And may our lives become expressions of faithfulness, courage, obedience, and purpose. Thank you for this day. Thank you for your guidance. Thank you for your peace. And thank you for reminding us that true progress begins when actions and spirit move together. In your holy name, amen. You do not need more movement. You need more alignment. Because movement without guidance eventually creates frustration. But alignment creates momentum. Alignment creates peace. Alignment creates purpose. And alignment turns ordinary daily actions into a meaningful life. Movement without guidance leads nowhere. But when your actions and spirit move together, every step begins carrying purpose.